Hello, my name is Olivia Henry. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the chicken and eggs found on your dinner plates. With the consumption rising of chickens, even outnumbering the consumption of beef and other red meats, the productions of chickens has had to increase and become more efficient. This has led to many ethical issues that are behind the curtains of the chicken industry that most consumers never witness. In the US alone, millions of chickens are slaughtered every year, and even more are used for their eggs. When many people think of chickens, an image that comes into their mind is probably the cellophane-wrapped packages or the egg cartons that they buy in supermarkets. Or if they think of the animal itself in its natural habitat, they'll usually think of a bucolic farm or some beautiful pasture lands that these chickens are grazing on or with their chicks. Although these bucolic farm scenes may be true for a couple of chickens, this is not the reality for the majority of the chickens that people consume. Let's start looking at the life of chickens that we use for consumption. We'll start with the broiler chickens. Termed this by the industry, they're the chickens raised for consumption. These chickens live in crammed warehouses, forced to defecate and eat in the same space. Many reporters or people that have experienced these warehouses have said that the smell of ammonia is overwhelming. These chickens never get to feel sunlight on their backs, or they're never able to clean themselves in dust baths, a normal activity for chickens. Chickens are also very social creatures. They have a very distinct social order or pecking order. Each chicken knows their place in that hierarchy. And because of this crowded and cramped environment, that order is disrupted. This leads to violence and constant pecking and frustration between the chickens, which can lead to various injuries. Normal chickens have a lifespan of 10 to 15 years. The chickens that are used for consumption only live for about 6 to 7 weeks, so they're still juveniles when they're taken off to the slaughterhouse. So that warehouse might not seem too bad to some people, but those chickens mostly are not even able to walk around very much. They've been genetically modified over the years to have larger breasts and different types of muscle tissue around their body. This increase in their bulk, without an increase in their frame or skeletal structure, leads to crippling leg deformities and the inability to walk. Many chickens also develop heart failure and other diseases due to this increase in size that is abnormal for the normal skeletal structure of chickens. This increase is purely due to the want for more meat out of a single chicken. So this is driven by the efficiency of the industry and the increasing consumption of chickens around the world. After these broiler chickens have lived their short lives of 6 to 7 weeks, it's time to go to the slaughterhouse. These chickens are then roughly thrown into crates, packed so tightly that they can barely even move. They go on a long journey to the slaughterhouse with no food or water, and they travel in all different weather conditions. At arrival to the slaughterhouse, many chickens don't even make it there alive. Once at the slaughterhouse, chickens are put onto these hooks by their feet, and they're thrashing around, trying to get loose. And the workers have been shown in undercover videos to even play games with throwing these chickens onto the hooks and seeing if they can get them on there, or how many chickens they can get on one hook. These chickens are then put through a motorized blade that is meant to slice their throat. Because the thrashing of the chickens many chickens miss the blade. And so in the next process, the scalding process, many of these chickens are boiled alive. This scalding process is meant to defeather them so that they can be further processed for consumption. Many people, when buying poultry or other meats, look for key phrases on the packaging that either makes them feel better about what they're eating or makes them feel better about that they're eating something that has just been slaughtered. Common phrases are humanely raised, cage-free, and even processed by the USDA verification. Under the USDA, there was an act passed called the Humane Slaughter Act. This act mandates animals to be unconscious and unable to feel pain when they are bled or slaughtered, like when the chickens have their necks cut by the mechanicalized blade. Although this act does not apply to chickens or any other type of bird, meaning that the USDA does not regulate or mandate this type of practice in the poultry industry. Although it is not mandated, many places commonly use an electrified water bath to render the chickens unconscious. This method has been found to be very ineffective, meaning that many of the chickens are slaughtered, have their necks cut, when they are fully conscious and able to feel pain. So this begs to question, were these chickens really humanely slaughtered, or even humanely raised, after looking at the deplorable conditions that they had to live in for their only short 6 to 7 weeks of life? The broiler chickens aren't the only chickens that face deplorable conditions and inhumane handling. Breeder chickens, or chickens used to produce eggs for more broiler chickens or more breeder chickens, and then also laying hens, which produce eggs for consumption in the egg industry. These two types of chickens have a slightly longer lifespan than that of broiler chickens, living for about 1 to 2 years. But still, that's only a fraction of the 10 to 15 years a normal chicken usually lives. A catchphrase often used on egg cartons is cage-free. This refers to how the chickens were kept when they were laying eggs. In reality, cage-free simply means that they're just in a larger cage, while caged chickens are cramped into small cages that make them defecate on top of each other, and they're never able to spread their wings. Although cage-free chickens may have a little bit more space, they're still in the deplorable, cramped conditions that broiler chickens are in their warehouse. These chickens lay eggs in this cramped conditions, and then their eggs are taken away from them. Normally, chickens have a very strong bond between their eggs and the chicks that are produced inside of them. They even communicate to them while they're still in the egg to teach them vocal calls. But these chickens will never see these eggs. They'll never see the chicks that were inside of them. The chickens used for laying eggs experience the same stress and disorder in the social hierarchy that broiler chickens do. Because they're needed to live much longer and produce eggs, most of them have their beaks clipped when they're only a couple days old, in order that they don't hurt each other during laying. This is done with no anesthetic, and many of them die from inability to eat because it's too painful. Breeder chickens and laying hens lay eggs until their body gives out or they are not laying efficiently. This usually translates to about 1 to 2 years of egg laying. Once eggs production starts to slow, these chickens are sent to the slaughterhouses, the very same as broilers. They go through the same inhumane slaughter and handling that broiler chickens see. The eggs produced by breeder chickens are usually sorted after they hatch for male and females. In the egg industry, the male chicks are of no use for this industry, and therefore all of the male chicks are usually discarded because they cannot produce eggs. Two different methods are used for discarding male chicks. Some are left in large garbage bags or pails to suffocate or die with lack of nutrients, or others are ground up alive with their eggshells in machines. I ask you now to think about what you're going to do after hearing about the truth and the brutality that chickens face in the poultry and egg industries. And I offer two things that people can do to take action against this inhumane treatment of animals. One choice is a personal choice, and that is to go vegan, to eliminate these products that cause cruelty to animals. And the other is to advocate for laws that protect the rights of these animals, that help, even if there are to be slaughtered, for more humane treatment and humane processes in this slaughtering, or even laws so far as to ban the inhumane treatment and slaughter of these animals. So now that you have been informed of the inhumane treatment of chickens, what are you going to do?